All right, let's talk about it. This is some of the Liverpool's youth. Big opportunity to grasp a spot in this team, to show what they can do within an Arne Slot system. If you go through the set of, and I'm going to go through this squad. If you go through the set of players who've travelled, boy, is it an exciting set of players, because so many of them have been, as I've described them in recent weeks, peripheral. Endo, Nunez, Chiesa, Gakpo's not peripheral, he actually asked to go. Elliott, Tsimikas, Robertson, Kone Doherty, Nalo, Nyoni, Quansah, Morton, Bradley, Sessions. It will be Endo, I think, probably starting, although someone in my group today was saying they think it might be Robbo that starts at centre-back. An interesting idea. Kind of wondering if we transition him to centre-back. Not sure about the pace. Kind of interesting to see him in that position, though. Maybe we will see him at some point in that position. This is the opportunity for Liverpool players to grab this with both hands and make a statement in this Arne Slot team. For a very long time, he was playing people who he knew could fulfill his tactical or effort levels or fitness levels or technical levels. And he had a very select group of people that he could rely on. Not that he didn't think he could rely on the other people within the team, but there was certainly a feeling amongst Liverpool fans that if we are going to do, I don't think anyone thought we were going to do this season, but if we are going to play to a sufficient level this season, we're going to have to rely on that core set of people that essentially was built by the Klopp administration, so to speak, and we're going to have to consolidate some of our losses in the short term. We did end up moving on a lot of the youth over the summer. We are going to end up loaning out a couple of people. We do want to essentially end this January transfer window feeling that we don't need to leave it with a lot of extra bodies coming in. And this is a great opportunity for a lot of those people. By the way, I didn't see the name Dan's in there. Is Jayden Dan's? No, he is. Dan's is in there. Sorry. I would love to see Dan's play in this game. I would love to see Nalo play this game. I'd love to see Nyoni play in this game. I want to see Morton in midfield. I think Morton will probably start in there, though I've got to admit maybe McConnell will start over Morton. There are some interesting, I guess it feels a bit FA Cup-y. I guess it feels a little bit, Kloppy, weirdly. I know it isn't Kloppy, but it feels a little bit Kloppy, doesn't it? And it's also a great opportunity for people like Endo. It's a great opportunity for people like Kelleher. Overall, it's a good opportunity for the fans to back some of these young guys that we've been screaming to see for quite some time. But more than anything to me, it feels like an opportunity for someone like Harvey Elliott. In some of the bigger games this season, he's not been available, he's not been fit. But he's about to be fit, potentially, touch wood, I hope so, inshallah. Everything goes right for that, and he can begin to stake a claim in some of these areas. He was very clear not long ago about this opportunity to stay at the club, to be at his club, to be part of something that he wants to actually achieve with. Not to just go away and make a name for himself in the Premier League, not to be, I dislike Harry Wilson, but not to be Harry Wilson of Liverpool, but to be a Liverpool legend himself. No shade, by the way, to Harry Wilson. I think he's a great Premier League player. He's gone out there and done some great things. But this is that opportunity. They're going to be playing in a genuinely competitive match here. They're going to be playing in a game against PSV who need points, who need to put points on the board. And they're going to be, I think we're going to go out there and it's not going to be like an NFL style thing where we see a massive shift and they suddenly start giving it to the running back every 2 seconds. But what we are going to see is, I think, playing towards our strength within that starting 11 and showing that there is more than just the starting 11 that Arne Slot has played for pretty much consistently since the start of the season, right? Because let's also face it, at the start of the season, we thought that Jarell Quansah was ahead in terms of starting order of Ibrahima Konate. At this point, we probably feel that it's Van Dijk and Konate, which I think is fair enough. That is very much, that very much would have been my choice. I love Konate as a centre-back. But the same goes for a lot of the other midfielders. And I think we've just taken this assumption that because we've seen Arne Slot starting them for quite some time, those are his guys. And actually, he hasn't really had his opportunity to put his fingerprints on this team. January doesn't really seem like the time to do that. Possibly January would have been the time if we were lagging outside of the top 4. We felt like we needed to inject some energy into the team. We needed to change the diversity, the ecosystem within the squad. But broadly, the squad actually looks pretty well bonded at this point. The squad look like, despite the contract issues, despite some of the other things that are swirling around, they've got a stronger grip on where they're at. They don't seem as emotionally unstable as they did last season during this period where Klopp had just announced that he was leaving. This felt like a goodbye tour. A year ago, this felt so much more unsure. This felt so much more uncertain. We didn't know that Slot was going to be the manager at that point. We didn't know what was going to happen and what the implications were of Klopp leaving the team and the big problem that would potentially come with that as well. I still think there is probably some latency in that problem coming down the line. But broadly, I think we're also getting a good look at Arne Slot now beginning to actually get a grasp of this squad, beginning to actually get his teeth into the task of managing Liverpool and beginning to develop this team in the way that he needs to develop them. He's probably seen a lot more of this youth. He's got a better look at where their physical strengths lie. We know what kind of player he likes in midfield, the big, strong, physical, carrying types that he enjoys to play in midfield, the centre-back type that he likes, the full-back type that we're looking for, the attacker type that broadly I think he wants to play with, but how he's also adapting as a coach to the likes of Nunez, possibly also to someone like Jayden Danns. And I think that was always going to take a little bit of time. Klopp had such a great read on this squad, weirdly, had such a great read on what he wanted to do with the squad, I think, that I think we sometimes overlooked some of the other strengths that some of these players had. We spoke about, we're speaking about Cody Gakpo now. A year ago, the perception of Gakpo was he was more of a peripheral figure, someone who wasn't quite as talented as we've seen. We knew he was talented, but we didn't know he had the application at Liverpool with that talent. We didn't know that he had the killer instinct. He looked like quite a mild-mannered player that we were kind of dealing with. And I think a lot of people broadly didn't see him as a long-term prospect at Liverpool, with or without Arne Slot, with or without Jurgen Klopp. A lot of people felt that he was flattering to deceive in a lot of games. They didn't like him in that centre mid position that Klopp was consistently playing in, or the striker position he was consistently being played in. But now that he's been reprofiled, now that we've seen Slot essentially just assess the players and go, this is where I'm going to play you, this is where you're going to be, that's working really well, or has worked really well. We've seen him pick up a lot of goals and assists in those games, and that's really encouraging. Whether that carries on to next season, if we don't have Trent in the team providing some of those assists, or whether we have Robertson, that's a whole other thing. Focus on the now, right? But it's also a great exercise in seeing those changes in those players and having trust and faith in the fact that we bought technically proficient players. And we're not in a stage where we have to do a complete rebuild, or that Slot is the kind of manager. And I think this is one thing we've kind of missed in more recent times, or we're overlooking, is he is a manager who's able to develop talent. He is a manager who's able to work on a budget. That's part of the reason that we bought him in. Part of the reason that we wanted to engage him in the first place was because he wasn't someone who goes, I need a £90 million player over here. I need an 80 million winger. I need this guy, and then we'll loan that guy out to Sevilla, God, 5 years later, or 24 months later, right? Those are key attributes in what Arne Slot is good at doing as a manager. And so ultimately, this PSV move, ballsy as it is, doesn't actually surprise anyone all that much. We didn't think there'd be this much rotation. In many ways, we thought that there was this arrogance about what it was that we wanted to do. We had a bit of arrogance going, we want to finish top. We want to finish with the most points. We should be doing it like this. We might be crying ourselves to sleep tonight, thinking we could have finished top on the most points, and now we're level with Barcelona, and actually we finished second, despite having, such a great lead. But clearly Slot has a level of confidence in his side that they can go away and do this. By the way, could also be a political point to UEFA, basically saying, hey, if we're going to play these extra games, we want to finish top, but we also do need deeper squads. Give us some of the rules in order to enable those things, blah, blah, blah. But broadly, it's a show of strength from Slot and a show of strength from Liverpool playing these young players or giving them this opportunity this evening. Yes, there is still a spine. Yes, we are still seeing Kelleher, who's could be a regular starter for Liverpool at this stage anyway. Endo, who could be a great leader. Someone like Robertson, who's also a great leader. I don't think we'll see Robertson and Tsimikas at left and left centre-back, so I think we will see Endo at centre-back. But I also think that what we're seeing is essentially Liverpool also saying, yeah, actually, you're busy focusing on all these transfers. Look what young talent we already have within the side. Look at the development that we're doing. Look at the holistic gains that we've had outside of just this idea of Liverpool that we just signed some big player and then they're instantly good. Yes, I think Slot will want to sign some players. Yes, I think there will be some fundamental changes to this team over the summer. But now is not the time for those changes. And January certainly isn't the time to find that value in the market, either if you're Liverpool or another team. You're always going to play a January premium and you're not 100% sure the player is going to hit the ground running. That's not a defense of FSG. Those are just facts. And unless we wanted to bring in a massive player and we were so sure that player wanted to come, like with Suarez, Torres left in January, but like with Van Dijk or any of those other players, I don't see the point in moving the needle like that. I don't see the point in trying to do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Does that make sense to you? So yeah, I broadly think this is fantastic. I'm very excited for the game this evening. I'm excited to see Harvey playing in the 10 / that right wing role. I'd be excited to see Chiesa start. I'd be excited to see Darwin Núñez start through the middle against the continental side. I'd be excited to see Cody Gakpo starting the game because he's returning back to a team where, most of them were then speculating that he actually wants to go to Manchester United, but actually now he's at Liverpool, he's saying he's having a great time and it's better than if he'd gone to Manchester United. Of course it's better than if he'd gone to Manchester United. Look at them. Not the point though, is it? Not the point. And it's not judgmental. It's just true. And then all the kids. I'm excited for this evening, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I love Champions League football anyway. It's a beautiful, clear day. It feels Champions League-y. It feels cool. It's like, there is like I don't think, I can see my breath. No, it's not cold enough anymore. It was cold enough when I started this video. But now, that's still on? Yeah, it is. But now, oof. I'm into it. Boy, am I into it. It's such a beautiful day, isn't it? What's it like in Eindhoven, do you think? I should have gone, really, shouldn't I? Really is a lovely day. Anyway, it was just worth saying, this is big for some of these youth guys. This is big for some of our younger players. Let me know who you're excited to see this evening. Let me know what you're thinking about the match tonight. I don't remember the last time we played PSV Eindhoven. Wasn't it like in the early 2000s or like mid 2000s? I don't even know the last time that we played this team. Certainly an interesting one. I wonder if I can just look that up, like at my whim. Can I do that in the moment? Probably. Wait, you guys don't have to wait around for long for it though. What's the history between the two teams? History. Do I have to go to lineup standings? Matches. Wait for it. Got it. Okay. Last time we played them was Group D in 08-09. We won both those 3-1. I can see that being the scoreline tonight, potentially. Another one we did it in 07. We won 1-0 and 3-0. And then the other time in the Champions League we played them, we drew 0-0. And this was in 06. So again, all in the Benitez era, we played PSV. It did seem very PSV-y. Probably in the year after we won the Champions League. So at that point we were champions. And in the first time we played them in the Champions League in the 2000s, or at least in the last couple of ties, we had Peter Crouch and Steven Gerrard score. Stevie was the captain and the man of the match in that game. And here's how far we've come. Reina, Finnan, Carragher, Agger, Risa, Pennant, Alonso, Gerrard, Mark Gonzalez. Do you remember Mark Gonzalez? Do you? Dirk Kuyt, Peter Crouch. Guys, they had Afellay on their team. They had Kone on their team. They had Jan Kromkamp on their team. Player that I think we went on to buy after this. Maybe. Let me just check. Is he in the lineups after that? We had Arbeloa in our team after that. And here's how far we've come again, guys. Look at this. In 07, this was our team. Reina, Arbeloa, Hyypiä, Agger, Risa, Pennant, Sissoko, Alonso, Zenden, Crouch, Bellamy. Our bench was Fowler, Gonzalez, Paletta, wow, Jerzy Dudek, Jamie Carragher, Steven Gerrard and Javier Mascherano. The goal scorer in that game, you guessed it, Peter Crouch. That is quite a turnaround, quite a change we've had. By the time the next season that we played them, we had Robbie Keane and David Ngog up front. Geez, that was a bad era. Albert Riera, Ryan Babel, Lucas Leiva and Javier Mascherano, Jamie Carragher, Desena, Agger, Arbeloa and Cavalieri in goal. Honestly, such a difference. The youth that we had in that side, we were on Stephen Darby, who has gone on to have a very brave story after that, Jay Spearing and Martin Kelly, all three of which were seen as very promising players for Liverpool at that time, and all went on to represent the club in different but honourable ways within the game. And I very much value their contribution to the game of football and to just overall life, I think. What I guess I'm trying to say is, some of you won't remember the dark days, or you might not have been old enough for the dark days. Those didn't feel like the dark days that back then. They felt like relatively hopeful days under Rafa Benitez, especially in 08. And 06, to be fair, but more like 08, because Gerrard didn't want to leave so much. And I guess the fact that we're able to take this level of players over, the fact that even, 15 years on from that, the fact that we're able to take so much youth and feel so confident in so much of that youth, that I think is a real marker for this Liverpool team right now. And I think it's just worth acknowledging that overall, because acknowledging the youth in this Liverpool side will maybe make us panic a little less about some of the silly transfer rumours that we hear week in, week out. Anyway, join me for some silly transfer rumours later in the day. Much love, guys. See ya. Bye.